Vinati Mutreja, who's the Managing Director and CEO of Vinati Organics, is now joining us on the show. Good to have you on board, and thanks so much for joining us on ET Now. My colleague was just flagging off some very impressive numbers, the kind of return ratios as well that the company has seen in the decade gone by. It's been a very impressive performance. Let's just understand what exactly have been some of the key milestones and, how you've managed to deliver these returns.
Sure, first of all, thanks for the very nice introduction to our company. But now let me just go back, flashback 12 years ago or 13 years ago when I first joined the company. We were essentially a single product company then. This is in 2006. We were only doing IBB and mostly selling it domestically. Now 2007-8 was a turning point for our company. Two things happened simultaneously. ATBS, like you mentioned, which has been the star product for us, that suddenly picked up. We had actually started making ATBS in 2002, but the first 4 or 5 years we were unable to get the right quality. But once we were able to master the process, then 2007 onwards, ATBS has been on a steep growth trajectory, and it's a fully 95% export product. The second thing that happened in 2007 was we started exporting IBB. So IBB, which we were doing only domestically till 2006, suddenly the revenues also doubled starting 2007-8 onwards. Then the next step, in 2010, we backward integrated. We started making the raw material for ATBS, which is IB, which essentially we were importing before that. And today we are the largest manufacturer of IB in the country. So these couple of steps, which basically mean innovation, which means getting into new products like ATBS or IB, integration, since IB has been a backward integration for us, economies of scale in all our major products. We are the largest manufacturer in the world with about 60 to 70% market share, and also clean and green technologies. We have a philosophy of generating wealth from waste or value-added products from waste, which actually not only reduces the effluence but also reduces our operating costs or cost of manufacturing the products. So these have been some of the key factors that have led to the growth over the last decade.
Now, Vinti, what's looking exciting as you head forward into the new year and new decade? What are you planning?
Sure. So, we stick to our philosophies of integration, just like we made IB because it was the raw material for ATBS. Then we started thinking, what next can we do with IB? So we are setting up a plant to make butyl phenols. We will be the only manufacturer of butyl phenols in the country. These products go into fragrance, plastics, resins, these kind of industries, and they're presently imported from Korea, Singapore, etc. So that is going to be the growth driver for the next 2 to 3 years. ATBS, IBB itself are growing at 10 to 15% year on year. And similarly, talking about innovation, we have about 7 to 8 products in our R&D pipeline. And even if 1 or 2 see the light at the end of the day, they are expected to result in significant revenue. So what we are looking at is doubling revenues in the next 3 to 4 years.
Doubling the revenues, and you've also, that's fantastic, you've also spoken a little bit about things that you'll be focusing on as well. Does the current state of the economy, concern you at all, even if it's, not directly impacting you, but nonetheless, just to get a perspective or a view from you on it?
So, our products, like Varun mentioned, go into various industries. So, our industry segment is quite diversified. They go into from pharma to water treatment to agro to oil and gas. Now, we do see a bit of a slowdown, especially coming from the oil and gas industry. And, just to make up for that, the only way to make up for that is to keep adding new products into our portfolio and to keep diversifying.
Okay. Just wanted to get in a sense as well from you, Vinti, as to what are, some of the categories specifically for you where largely because of the kind of slowdown as well that we're seeing in China could help benefit the company?
So, slowdown in China is, for example, ATBS, we compete with China in that product. And of course, because of the tariffs in US, our product has become more competitive in US. But at the same time, the Chinese have started dumping the product in the rest of the world or Europe. So in the end, it's a zero-sum game. And also because we are into specialty niche products, for other products, we don't face much competition from China. In fact, it's a market for us. Both IBB and ATBS are exported to China, and yes, because of the environment crackdown, especially on the ibuprofen front, IBB front, we have seen a bit of a slowdown in the IBB segment this year from China.
Talked about ATBS, really being the key to your leadership, and we chatted about this in the sidelines of the India Economic Conclave as well earlier on this month. And that each and every report that I pick up says that that's going to be the key to your profit supremacy. But would you be able to clock in the kind of margins that you have in the last 5 years? Would it be at the same run rate or not?
So ATBS actually, the margins went up essentially over the last 1.5 to 2 years because Lubrizol exited the industry and suddenly there was a shortage of the product and prices shot up. But now with the new expansions coming in place and the slowdown in oil and gas, there's no more demand-supply imbalance. So some of those prices are actually due for a correction. So quite frankly, you will see the margins coming down slightly going forward to a more sustainable level.
Give us a sense as to what are, some of the developments on the IBB front. BASF is still facing a bit of a slowdown. Where do you think that you can make this up, and are you looking for now new customers?
No, so IBB or ibuprofen as such is a fairly consolidated market, and yes, over the last couple of years we have heard of new players entering into the ibuprofen market because ibuprofen itself grows at 4 to 5% annually. BASF, I think we will start our supplies in Q1 to North America of IBB. So we expect to make up for IBB in fiscal year or calendar year 20. Now the new players also they are mostly coming up in India to such. So overall one can expect IBB growth for the next 2 to 3 years to be 10 to 15% year on year.
Vinati, just going through Butyl and just wanted to understand basically how the feedback has been from your Butyl customers. Will you be ready to commercialize by the fourth quarter, and what kind of volumes are you looking at to garner from this segment?
Sure. So butyl phenols, the plant should be ready in January this year, next year, and the total revenue potential from butyl phenols is about 400 to 450 crores. Now, just for Q4, we are expecting a very slow, run rate because of the plant startup. So one can expect 50-60 crores of revenues just in Q4, and then in FY or 21 one can expect maybe around 250 crores. The sentiment from the customers has been quite positive, and they are quite keen that we start our plant as soon as possible because till now they have been importing this product. So they are really looking forward to having a local supplier.
I wanted to understand on the same topic, what are the challenges in developing an export market for Butyl, and why is it that you've opted for this product, which is a much lower margin business as opposed to ATBS and even IBB combined?
See, the total imports of butyl phenol in India itself last year were about 25,000 tons per annum. Now, our total capacity is 35,000 tons per annum. So, India itself, if one assumes grows at 7-8%, our total capacity can get consumed for butyl phenols in India itself over the next 3 years. But again, global market for butyl phenols is very large in lakhs of a few lakhs of tons, and if at all we have a surplus, we can export it. Also, why we chose butyl phenols is because it's integration for us, right? We have the raw material for it, isobutylene. Now, butyl phenols is made essentially from phenols plus isobutylene. We also have a big local plant of phenol that has recently come up in India, which historically wasn't the case. So, with phenols and isobutylene both being available in India, it makes sense to have a plant of butyl phenols in India too, which also gives us, makes us not just competitive in India, but globally competitive also because of the synergies with IB and phenol.
Given that, you have 60% plus share post taking Lubrizol out of the picture, are you looking at price hikes for ATBS across customers?
So those price hikes in the spot market were already done about a year and a half or 2 years back, right, when Lubrizol exited the market and there was a shortage. And like I mentioned, now those prices are normalizing again because of the expanded capacities, and now there is no shortage of ATBS anymore in the market.
Okay, so that's the situation on that front, as you mentioned. And on the new brownfield ATBS, which was meant to come on stream, any progress on that and how this is going to affect revenues as well going forward?
Yeah, so that plant has been slightly delayed. We expect to start it in Feb 2020. Frankly, we expect revenues out of that plant coming in only from FY21, April onwards. And since we are running at close to full capacity of our existing line for ATBS, the growth, the 10 to 15% growth, annual growth for ATBS will be serviced by this new line for the next 3 to 4 years.
Joining us this morning, Vinati. Always a pleasure, and happy holidays. All right.